Greetings commanders and welcome back to another Warpath unit highlight video. And at this time we are actually doing a very unpopular unit, knowing that whether these late game infantry units will actually be good. That's the simple question that everyone has in their mind, and they don't want to try it because having these units is super expensive. But in this test server, we can just do a couple of clicks and have these units, and this is why this content is amazing, because what we can do is test them for you, and you would know exactly whether it's worth it to actually invest in them or not. And by the way, in the latest update, we have a lot of enhancements for these units, because right now the infantry units have specialized kind of research, and each camp has its own kind of dynamics right now and within the fight. We will have a separate video for that, explaining the differences between each camp and trying them against each other and doing some combat tests about them in probably live stream and other multiple videos, because we really wanted to see whether this new change might actually give us a hint of whether to use these infantry units or not. But this specific video is just a general testing, whether these units are actually good in the end game or not, depending on which camp we are actually choosing. In this one, we're going with Camp Vanguard, and we can see that these units now have some counters. Before, they did not have any counters, and right now, after the update, we basically have countering medium units, heavy, main battle tanks, and super heavies, which is kind of very interesting that they are actually countering these units. They are definitely heavily countered by artilleries and rocket launchers and howitzers in general, and these units are definitely slow on the field. They're not extremely fast. So if you have a rocket launcher, you'll definitely be able to damage them a lot. But what we're going to do in this kind of special video is that we're going to try them out against helicopters and against main battle tanks, which supposedly they should take out. They didn't say that it does counter helicopters, so overall these units should be able to actually take down helicopters. Now, relatively speaking, they have a decent firepower, not much of an HP, but when they go in bunker mode, that's when things get really interesting. So over here you can see that this is basically their stats. If you didn't know that, this is basically where the stats are. But when they go into bunker mode, their blast damage resistance and their damage resistance significantly goes up, and they even deal more damage depending on which officers you have them on. So for today, we're going to have two tests. One of these tests is going to have officers on. As you can see, this one does not. This is going to be exactly the first test. For some reason, this one is showing that we have an officer on, but we actually do not have an officer on. As you can see, there's no officers over here, and this is exactly the power that is showing. And exactly the same over here. So what we're going to do is just no officers test for the first time. Second time, we're going to try these out with some officers, the new high-end officers against the infantry officers. So we want to see that our infantry officers actually keeping up with the current meta of new officers such as Valkyrie and Professor Payne, which I think are insanely good. So is it an officer problem or is it a unit problem? And this is exactly what we're going to uncover right now within this video. So let's go ahead and start with the first phase, which is going to be unit versus unit, no officers involved. Now, this fight might actually take a while because, as you know, when there's no officers involved, these fights usually take a while. So generally speaking, we're going to be taking a look at their performance and then judging by that how the fight will actually go, because as you know, there's no officers, so the performance is going to stay the same. It's going to actually go worse for the troops that do not have more HP because they're going to be dealing less damage with time. And as we can see, exactly that's the what's going on over here. Now on this side, let me just go ahead and do that to see exactly the HP. So as you can see, infantry are holding strong, and the reason why they are holding strong is because they are in bunker mode, and this is exactly what happens for modern infantry. Modern infantry units go immediately into bunker mode without having for you to activate it. They do that automatically on their own. And this is exactly what's happening right now. As you're seeing in front of you, they went into bunker mode, and that's why they're actually outperforming. And these blasts that you see on the field are actually some bombs that these units are actually displaying. And this is exactly why they are winning this fight. And surprisingly speaking, these units are holding their ground for sure. Now, this is not a real scenario because you will have a lot of units involved in the field, and infantry are not the fastest units. So if you have a rocket launcher nearby, then probably you will be able to devastate these units. So technically speaking, within the field fighting sector, it's probably not the best idea to do this, especially if you're against a very offensive enemy unit that are actually just roaming around the field and trying to take down those picks, which are basically infantries all around. However, they still have some decent kind of fighting capabilities within the field, or when it comes to 1v1s or even 1v2s maybe, because they haven't taken any damage. So I don't see any problem them taking out 2 heli units at the same time without taking significant amounts of damage and still getting probably a positive trade. So as you can see, the heli was taking out first, even though it wasn't within the counters, but still overall the heli, it has less kind of armor and HP and durability overall than the MBT, and that's exactly the main reason why we are seeing this power difference over here. And therefore, obviously, the difference over here is also obvious. The MBT will lose and this unit will win. So what we're going to try right now in the next test is actually the following. We're going to try out the officer combos, which are going to be Iron Bastion for the infantry, along with White Wolf. And we're going to try out these 2 officers, which are a little bit old, against Professor Payne and Valkyrie. So this is going to be the combo. So it's going to be Professor Payne and Valkyrie versus these 2 officers, both MBTs and helis. So that's going to be an interesting test, because I want to see these perform when it comes to officers, because as we know, like the latest tank officers are insane. And if you haven't watched these videos, I would highly recommend going to check them out. We have 2 new officer highlights, one for Valkyrie, one for Professor Payne, where we go through them and test them in combat and go through the skills as well. So let's go ahead now to the officer test and check that out as well. All right, so what we're going to do right now is we're going to have over here White Wolf leading and Iron Bastion as secondary. The reason why we have Iron Bastion as secondary is because his leading does like damage to fortifications, which we aren't technically doing right now. We're doing field fighting over here. And then we have on the other side is Professor Payne leading and Valkyrie as secondary. And this is basically one of the best tank combos if you don't know that. Spoiler alert. And what we have right now over here is a heli that has that, and an MBT that has that as well. And we also have both infantry units having the same exact officer combinations. Let's go ahead and test this out. This is going to be a bit of a faster battle over here because we have officers. So I'm actually intrigued to test how much damage is going to deal, and are we actually going to be able to penetrate this bunker over here? And from the looks of it, it doesn't change a thing. The heli is completely being devastated, and same goes to the MBT, to be fairly honest with you guys. And the results are actually surprising. We're taking out these units very fast right now, and there's definitely multiple infantry officers that we wanted to use as well, but that was hell of a fast battle, by the way. And take a look at this. The MBTs are surviving a little bit more, but not for much. And that was like about, what, a 12-second battle over there? Or a little bit less. And just to show you guys that these new infantry units are not something to play around with. These ones are actually dealing a lot of damage with the new research and whatnot. So hey, if you guys want to see more about why these infantry units are actually doing and performing this good, make sure to subscribe down there, because very soon, probably next week, we're going to have a full video explaining the different types of infantry, their research, and showing you exactly how each and every different type will perform against the same exact unit. Just for you guys to get a reference of, if you were to pick infantry, which one to go for best, and are they actually the best right now in the field fighting business, because they mean business right now. And with this update, it seems like the meta is shifting a little bit, and it's very interesting to see what the results will be. So hey, if you did like this video, throw us a like down there and let me know what you guys want to see in the future for testing, and if you want to see something specific in the next video when it comes to infantry testing as well. If you want to see it versus artilleries, rocket launchers, or anything else, or even maybe in a swarming platform, if there's like multiple units attacking one unit of infantry, I think that would be interesting as well to see if they will actually also perform better in that scenario too. Now, that was it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll definitely see you on the next one. Bye-bye.